This is the most important video you will watch in 2022. Classified information, of extreme importance, for you and your family. Earth will enter a mini-ice age, which is expected to last for 30 years, warn NASA scientists. Subscribe to the channel, spread this video, please, humanity needs to prepare. According to international media reports, scientists have claimed that the Earth is entering a mini-ice age period that will last 30 years. According to NASA scientists, the Sun will go into hibernation for a period of 3 decades and summer on Earth will become colder and wetter. Climate change has been a major concern for scientists around the world as icebergs are melting and sea levels are rising rapidly. But if we pay attention to recent research, it seems that we are on the cusp of an unprecedented catastrophe in the modern world. Humanity needs to wake up to reality. Today is another. Geophysical and climatic factors give us credit for the arrival of a mini-ice age. Professor Valentina Zarkova from the Department of Mathematics, Physics and Electrical Engineering at the University of Northumbria, England, warned that this could cause the global temperature to drop by 3 degrees Celsius. This will have important consequences for the planet, including a slowdown in agricultural production. Dr. Zarkova added that the Sun's hibernation period could last 3 decades, which will lead to cooler, wetter summers. The reduction in temperature will result in cold climates on Earth, wet and cold summers, cold and wet winters. Possibly we will have great frosts, as is happening now in the northern hemisphere where they see temperatures of -50 . But this is just the beginning of the great solar minimum, and there is more to come in the next 33 years. The last great solar minimum that occurred approximately every 400 years arrived in the 17th century. An investigation by NASA indicated that during this last extended solar minimum, cooling temperatures in the northern hemisphere were exacerbated by this Maunder minimum. From 1650 to 1710, temperatures across much of the northern hemisphere collapsed as the Sun entered a quiet phase, now called the Maunder minimum, the NASA study said. During this period, very few sunspots appeared on the surface of the Sun and the overall brightness of the Sun dimmed slightly. Already in the midst of a colder-than-average period called the Little Glaciation or Little Ice Age, Europe and North America froze deep, alpine glaciers spread across valley farmland, sea ice has split south of the Arctic, and Holland's famous canals froze regularly, an event that is rare today. Subscribe to the channel, leave your like to give relevance to this extremely important video. During this period, temperatures in the northern hemisphere on land and in winter were 1.3°C lower than they are today, which led to shorter seasons and ultimately food shortages in what NASA described as a small era. Glacial. We can only hope that the mini-ice age is not as severe as at least Maunder, continued Professor Zarkova. This would dramatically affect food crops in mid-latitudes, because vegetables and fruits will not have enough time to harvest. So this could lead to a food deficit for people and animals, as we have seen in recent years when snow in Spain and Greece in April and May destroyed their vegetable fields and the UK had a deficit of broccoli and other crops. Fruits and vegetables. Many think that all these terrible events that have been taking place since 2019 are the end of the world, but know that it is just the prelude to something much worse that is yet to come. The coming mini-ice age will be the watershed of humanity, where the horse with the scales of the apocalypse will bring extreme famine in the land. NASA scientist confirms this sad reality. John L. Casey is talking in this interview about what's going on right now. The mini-ice age is coming, chronic record cold temperatures, twice as high as normal high-magnitude earthquakes and massive volcanic eruptions. While government-sponsored scientists aren't making the connection, lead scientist John L. Casey did and shared his perspective of a cold era that recurs throughout history every 200 years. You draw your conclusions. We believe that the main source of this imminent possibility is the arrival of Nibiru, Planet X, in our solar system. Can climate change neutralize the mini-ice age? For Earth and climate change, Declining solar activity would have dramatic consequences other than a mini ice age. This would weaken the ozone layer. Reduced radiation, especially in the UV range, mitigates this. The ozone layer normally captures UV radiation and heats up in the process. If there is no ozone, air masses cool at high altitudes, which in turn would influence Earth's climatic conditions. Researchers at the Max Planck Institute in Göttingen, on the other hand, have a completely different idea. The climate change we are making must outpace the expected cooling and prevent the mini ice age. Colleagues at the Potsdam Institute for Climate Impact Research confirm this and refer to a study that showed that a new grand minimum would lead to a maximum cooling of 0.3 degrees Celsius, compared to 4 degrees of warming triggered by climate change. However, the finding is based on a new model for predicting solar activity presented last week at the national meeting of the Royal Astronomical Society in Llandudno, Wales. The research presented by mathematics professor Valentina Zarkova, from the University of Northumbria, indicates a sharp drop in solar activity in the next 30 years, causing a moderate cooling of the Earth. The conditions predicted by the new model have not been experienced by Earth since the last mini ice age, recorded between 1645 and 1715, and which earned the nickname the Maunder Minimum, a period when temperatures were below average across Europe. At the time, European countries suffered from very harsh winters. The River Thames in England, for example, remained frozen for several weeks. According to a survey by scientists, solar activity may drop by 60% in this period, but scientists have not pointed out the possible consequences of this at a global level. The results of the study indicate that the incidence will be lower from 2032, mid-2040. Subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Experts also warn that this is a sign that the solar minimum is on its way. The Sun follows a cycle of about 11 years where it reaches a solar maximum and then a solar minimum. During a solar maximum, the Sun emits more heat and solar particles and is covered in sunspots. Less heat in a solar minimum is due to a decrease in the Sun's magnetic waves. Interestingly, our Sun entered a solar minimum around 2020, but it appears to be moving in that direction a little earlier, which could turn out to be bad news for hot weather lovers. Low solar activity has effects on Earth's climate and is also correlated with an increase in cosmic radiation reaching the upper atmosphere. The empty Sun is a sign that the next solar minimum is approaching and that there will be more and more pristine days in the years to come, wrote a weather website called Vincor Weather. The trend will be the continuity of climatic extremes, from very cold to very hot, in different zones of the Earth, until the clear evidence of the Ice Age, say the scientists. The consequences of the arrival of a mini ice age can be devastating and go far beyond abnormal temperature changes in the Earth. Other events will automatically enter the equation, such as wars, for the last resources of the Earth, famine and pestilence, a true biblical tribulation. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate notifications to receive new videos.